Hello, Tom Lebecki here with the latest edition of the New Theory podcast. Today, we got a very, very special guest, Taylor Draper, CEO and co-founder of Inherit. Inherit can relate and talk to many. As he dealt with his own struggles with depression, he opens up about his feelings through fashion. Draper is offering everyone to walk in his shoes and suit, literally. We'll talk about some of the struggles and some of his low points, but more importantly, we'll talk about his high points because, again, it's not how we start, it's how we end. Taylor Draper, welcome to New Theory Podcast. How you doing today?
Doing well, Tom. Thanks so much for having me. I really appreciate it.
Okay, so before we get into the business, which we'll expound upon, I kind of want to talk about Inherit. What first, actually, let's talk about you and let's go into Inherit. But talk us about you. You obviously dealt with some stuff. Give us a little bit about your formative years and walk us through.
Yeah, absolutely. So I started off as a graphic designer. Wow. I taught myself how to code and everything since I was like 10 years old and got my first computer. No siblings, no dad. My mom was working 16-hour days. So I pretty much just raised myself on the computer.
What do they call that? What do they call that? A latchkey kid?
A latchkey? I haven't heard that phrase, but I like it.
Well, because the idea is your parents are, it's like a New York thing. Your parents aren't home and somebody comes, you don't want to, so you open it up and you look out. That's a latchkey kid.
Oh, I got you. Like that. Yeah. Awesome, man. Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, a lot of things could have went wrong, but I kind of just stayed to the computer. Was clinically depressed since like age 12. So something I've always struggled with and like couldn't really overcome. Like when you have depression for that long, it's not something that ever gets like cured or fixed. It's kind of just something that you live with, and then it doesn't hit you or trigger you as hard as you get older. Often.
Is it true with depression? It's one of those things you realize after the episode, or you're still depressed, but you kind of go through something and then you look back, you're like, holy shit, I was depressed. Was that true?
Yeah, it was a little bit of both. Like it was definitely that for me, looking back and, working through like childhood trauma and things like that. I was definitely like, oh, wow, that is for sure textbook depression. But thankfully, I think I'm at a healthy enough place now where when it comes in waves, I can recognize it immediately. I'm like, oh, this is depression. I need to take these measures to get myself back on track here.
And what happened to your dad?
He left. So it's kind of an interesting story. He robbed not a bank, but he robbed like a trust fund. He was like a lawyer, and I guess he just like, again, like I had never met him. But I guess he like robbed a trust fund and got caught right before I was born. So, and my mom was like, I don't want any part of this. So she just took me away and we never talked to him.
Is he still alive?
I don't know, to be completely honest with you. I have no idea.
Do you know his name?
No.
Holy cow. Wow. That'll be next episode. All right. So you grow up in a tough situation. You deal with depression. You learn to code. You learn to survive. And, what role does your mother have in your upbringing? Like, because obviously she's super busy, but she seems like a great mom. So, how did that kind of, what was her role?
Yeah. And I don't want to like just, paint her in a really negative light, but she just wasn't there and she didn't want to be a parent. So she just kind of chose like an inactive parenthood kind of role.
Okay.
So I actually weighed 320 pounds when I was like 16 years old. She basically kind of substituted parenting with food, because anytime she would just kind of give me some food or donuts or whatever, I'd just take it in my room and be happy and not bother her.
Wow.
So it was kind of just.
Now let me ask you, because like that sucks, right? Let's put it plain, right? But as an adult, you look at it a little differently, right? Meaning, like as a kid, you're like, fuck you, man. This, like, you fucked me up, right? And then as an adult, you still feel that way. But sometimes you're like, oh shit, you're right. Like she didn't want to be a parent, so it's how she dealt with it, or she didn't know how to be a parent. So like when you kind of look back on her with an adult lens, is it a bit more forgiving, or is it still kind of raw?
Yeah, that's a really great question, man. There's definitely like a lens of grace, but the thing is, she chose to do those things, whether she, whether she, intended to or not. That's not the point. The damage was dealt, right?
Got it. Well, I didn't mean to get on Dr. Philly, but I just wanted to kind of set
Hey, no.
up the adversity part, which is a shit ton, and we could do a lot more episodes on that. Okay. So you get into the fashion game. Walk us through what did you do before Inherent, and why is Inherent here? And just walk us through that.
Yeah, well, we haven't gotten to the adversity part yet for Inherent, but that's just kind of the childhood part.
Oh, Inherent has his own. All right, well, listen, we got some time. Let's do it.
Hey, man, I got all day. So yeah, man. I've always been into like men's fashion. So like the one thing that really helped me aside from like computer stuff when I was growing up was
I'm gonna put your site up.
Oh yeah. Was playing music. So I've been playing guitar since I was like 15, writing songs, singing, things like that. And so being into that, you kind of by default are kind of into fashion a little bit because you have to play shows and get on stage and things like that. So I've always been like pretty into it. But about 4 years ago, my wife and I, we were pretty much that's her actually right there, in the middle.
God bless.
We were going through a really tough time. It was basically like, we don't know if we need to get divorced or if we need to, or like if we even want to stay together. So we decided to give it a shot and stay together and go to therapy. So we went to therapy 3 times a week, and I had never experienced this my whole life. Any kind of male figure that came into my life was always like, be a man, man up, never let me talk about my feelings, that kind of thing.
Wow.
So I knew that when I owned 3 businesses at the time. I knew that when I went into work, I would put a suit on and I would just kill it, Yeah. So I kind of took that same mindset going to therapy because I had no idea what to expect. I just knew I really, really wanted it to work, and I was going to put in any amount of work that it took to like save my marriage. So I would show up in my suits and things like that. And it literally just gave me the confidence to get in touch with myself and talk about my feelings and work through my trauma and work through our marriage and things like that.
I like that a lot because it was Instagram Reels. Yes, I'm on 45 years old on Instagram Reels, and it was a woman. I think she's like a dating coach or something. She's like, "Listen, divorce is pretty bad, and I've gotten divorced, but I'm in a new relationship, really happy. I have a beautiful daughter.
That's great, man.
I got two children from my previous marriage who I love and adore. I could do another episode on it. I believe I actually became a better father because of divorce. I'm one of those people that like once things become scarce, then I might like be a little stunad, but like when things become scarce, I'll double down and protect it. And then it helped mold me into being a better father and realizing who I am. And I also had somewhat of a lack of a male presence in my life as well. With that said but this woman said, if your marriage is hanging by a string, you know what? Give it a try. Divorce is really bad. It sucks. It's not going to be fun financially, physically, emotionally. Try therapy, try some remediation, and maybe it'll help. So I'm glad that you kind of fixed that part of your life. And I'm guessing because you had some other stuff cooking that it helped heal you in other ways as well, correct?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Yeah, therapy really helped me just, see the like brokenness that I had growing up in my childhood, and then just really being able to get in touch with myself when like situations would come up, because a lot of times we react or we feel these emotions that come up in situations that you kind of don't necessarily know why they're that intense or why they're there.
Yeah.
So that really helped me through it, and it really helped me like learn how I respond to certain things, and it was so helpful,
almost like a serendipitous performance coach. Like you tackle things differently and you perform better because you healed and fixed other stuff. All right, let's talk about the business. So when did you start Inherent?
Yeah. So after my wife and I kind of got through that tough time, I realized, man, like clothing really helped me overcome these kind of issues. And I bet you I could, you know, my immediate friends and everything like that, it would really benefit them too. And I bet you it would benefit men everywhere. So that's when I was talking to my buddy and he was like, you should make this actually like a nonprofit for-profit model. And then like do the mental health because you're so into therapy and you're so helpful to everyone and you're so just open to talking about everything with your story.
Nice.
You should integrate that in your business somehow. So then that was in the cooker for a long time. And then we launched in May 2020 with a nonprofit mental health mission behind us.
You started in the throes of the pandemic. Did you start off brick and mortar or you started off digital? E-commerce.
Started off digital. We were talking about waiting because of the pandemic. But so many people at that time, especially in May, so many people, like suicide reports were going through the roof. Like it was just so evident that somebody needed to just be like, hey, we need to really talk about mental health right now. So that's why I was like, well, we're not 100% ready yet, but we need to launch and then just really focus on men's mental health right now, especially just in our immediate community.
All right, I'm with you on the mission, right? But I'm a digital marketer, and a lot of this stuff is great. And I don't want to discount the mission in any way, right? But if I had $1 every time somebody says, "Oh, I'm a business with a purpose," and all this stuff is great, right? I'm like, well, how do you tend to acquire clients, right? What's your budget? And they're like, well, I don't have one. It's like, well, you're not gonna get your mission out there if you don't get the awareness, right? So now, if you have a digital marketing background, it probably made it easier, right? But it's still not easy. It's still not easy, right? So how did you launch it and how did you acquire your first bucket of customers?
Yeah, it's still not easy to this day, but so about a month after we launched, we had Janie Bryant reach out to us. She's like an Emmy award-winning costume designer. Wow. She did all the suits for Mad Men and she did the show Deadwood. And
is your name really Draper?
It is. I get that a lot. Yeah, okay. It's really funny. My first name's really Taylor. I didn't change it.
Love it.
Yeah. So that really helped us, man, because she reached out and she's like, I love the mental health mission. And like, I was in a pitch the other day because we're doing a capital raise right now, like a series A. But I had a really similar question. It was like, we love the mission, but like, how is this going to, like, why is this important with product? And my response was, the mission is what gets us into market breakage. Like it helps us penetrate the market, like because of the mission. Every single one of our opportunities from our mission was strictly because of the mission. You know, every single one of the opportunities we've had.
Risky on them. I'm not disagreeing. I love that, but I have to tell you though, it is risky leading in with the mission. But if it's working, fuck yeah, you know.
Yeah, it's definitely working. The other thing is we don't compromise on quality in our products whatsoever. So our competitors are people like Gucci and Saint Laurent and things like that. So like we actually have that luxury level goods where they're handmade, handcrafted from just fabrics from all over the world, craftsmen from all over the world that actually take the time to make it well. And we have a phrase that says dress for life, or because it's built to last a lifetime and it dresses you for life struggles and things like that.
Nice.
So yeah, man, like it's also so cool because we get to look at all these other brands who, again, I don't want to paint a negative light, but they don't have a mission behind them. They don't have sustainability. They still use like super old unfair trade practices in their factories, where we're all very aware of our eco footprint. We're very sustainable. Every single one of our factories is like hand like inspected. We make sure that everyone's fair trade, fair wages are being paid.
Have you though? Again, these are all important things, right? These are all important things. And I'm in alignment with all of them, right? But as a marketer, when the average order value in the space is 200, but you're selling a $500 jacket, are people that you are acquiring or at least visiting the site, are they willing to pay the extra freight to cover the mission?
Sorry, can you say that again? It cut out for a second.
So in this game, right? You know this. It's cost per acquisition. You got to get a whole bunch of people come to your site or find out about your brand, right? And then some of those great people will buy from you, right? So looking at your conversion rate and looking at your average order value, a jacket's, let's say $200, but you're selling it for $550. Now it's better quality, it's handmade, and there's a mission behind it. But have you found out that people are willing to pay the extra freight, willing to pay the extra money for your better stuff? Or are you still kind of figuring that out where, you know, it's still blocking and tackling needs to get done to get there, you know?
No, that's a great question. And so people are willing to pay it because we're actually on the lower end of the luxury market, because there's kind of two bubbles, right? So there's like the suit supply, the exactly what you mentioned, the H&M, $200 suits glued together, all this kind of stuff I won't go into, but glued together, all that stuff. And then you have people up here, you know, like the Cuccinellis, like the Articles of Style guys, like all these really cool people in the space that are
functional buttons, 40, 45. So let's get to the brass tacks. Okay. So you have suits, but you also have casual wear and business casual wear as well, correct?
Correct. So our whole model is built around brand extensions. We started with the gentleman's lifestyle with the suits, because that was, to me, the echelon of that mantra and that whole vibe. Yeah. So now what we're doing is we're branching off into brand extensions. So we're doing a whole driving collection, officially licensed by the Steve McQueen estate. And then we're doing things like, it's amazing. It's incredible. We're doing things like grooming. And then we're also doing things like Americana style to kind of compete with Double RL. And all of these different kind of brand extensions all revolve around the gentleman's lifestyle. All of them have the same business model of giving back to our 501c3 nonprofit. Every employee in any one of those subsidiaries is giving their time to donate to the nonprofit and everything like that. So,
oh, wow. All right. So if I get something custom, how do you get my measurements?
Yeah. So we have this really cool algorithm we built online where it's very similar to like, if you've used like Black Tux's thing, it's like a survey system, like 16 questions. We can actually get it like 90% there. And then we pay for the alterations to get you 100% there. And then we update those alterations in your profile, so you never have to go through that experience again. Which
is consistent with custom wear. Anyway.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly. So it's pretty much online. We're considered made to measure. And then in shop, if you come meet us in person, or we have a concierge person come to you, that's when it goes from made to measure to custom. And we do a full 47-point measurement system on you. We like get the degrees of your shoulders. Like we do your posture, knock knees, bowed, all that kind of stuff.
That's fantastic. So, now, what about how are you acquiring clients now? You have great PR, got great awareness, it looks like, from different stuff. But how are you acquiring clients that are paying?
Yeah, so right now our brick and mortars are our champion, man. It's been in the black since month one, which is insane, because Colorado Springs, if you know anything about us, we're the 8th worst dressed city in America. So I was basically like, well, if I can figure out how to make it work here, I think I can make it work pretty much anywhere.
So you're brick and mortar Colorado Springs, and part of the cap raise is the cap raise meant to scale brick and mortar or to scale digital, or both?
Both. Digital first, just because we haven't had the real money. As you know, as a digital marketer, it takes real money to bust into that and like see sales from that. So we get some good sales every month from it. It's not nearly where I'd like to be, but it's what I love about that is it's all organic right now, because I'm not putting any budget behind it.
That's great.
Other than local.
That's great.
So yeah,
it's always tricky. You're like, you want to throw a little PPC or throw some paid ads, and it's like, why have the brick and mortar? And it's generally not as, it is profitable, but it's not to do the local, because you're spending like a lot of money, and like 3 people walk in, and attribution is always tough, right? but then you
Yep.
do digital and it's like great awareness, but it's not always profitable. Do you know your costs for acquisition per customer online? Is that something you could share, or is that you want to hold close to the chest?
Yeah, not necessarily want to share it.
That's fine. Yeah.
It's I will say that I don't have enough data to give you like a solid answer of where it could be, you know.
And then how far along in your cap raise? Are you ready to rock? Are you in process? How's that going?
We're ready to rock. Like, we have our whole data room set up. Like, everything's been lawyered up. We're good to start courting some people.
What made you want to do a cap raise versus more of a brick by brick strategy?
Mainly because of the mission. Like, I know that I can get the mission out there quicker and change more guys' lives the faster we can grow. So it's pretty much just about that, man. Like, we just got some data back for the last 6 months of our nonprofit events that we've held in the store and things we've done online. And it's been insane. The stat that we've gone after is that only 5% of men seek any outpatient resources.
Oh, wow.
So like getting divorce help, for example, getting therapy, life coaching, depression counseling, anything like that, only 5% of men do it. So that's the stat we really wanted to attack. We've had 57% of men who interact with our brand get connected with those resources through us.
Oh, wow. Now, what about, I noticed you have different locations. So if I'm in New York, you have like a local person that'll meet me and measure me, or what does that local affiliate do?
Yeah, that's exactly right. You hit the nail on the head. We just have concierge guys pretty much everywhere that we can get to just use our factories and things like that and get you measured and get you connected with the brand.
Love it, love it, love it. Well, listen, I'm impressed. I'm going to put a link below. Check this guy out. Check out his business. Buy from him because it helps him, but most
it really does
other people, and it helps yourself. Sure. Because I do believe if you feel confident in what you do, it helps you have better outcomes. So how can we find you, Taylor?
Yeah, follow us at This Is Inherent Instagram. My personal Instagram is at Taylor J Draper. Yeah, and just interact with the brand. We're starting to do a lot of our events online too through Zoom, so you can still get in contact with us if you're not here in Colorado, and still just be a part of the mission. We have a lot of great things in the pipe, like our Steve McQueen line. We're doing a whole Americana casual line. It's going to be really fun. So just keep up with us.
Without giving too much away,
Yeah.
Let's say you close your A round, where you set up shop next, or you can't disclose that yet.
LA.
Love it. Not New York.
100%.
I can see that. I can see LA.
New York number 3. New York number 3. It is up there, but LA is great because we have people like Janie that can come swing by, and we have a lot of friends there.
Good point. Listen, Jamie, thank you for being on the podcast. Check him out. I'll put a link below, and I'll talk to you guys soon.